Welcome up, everyone. Akasha here, and welcome back to the Infinite Show. And I'm super excited today because we have another incredible guest on our Dolphin Guides and Healing Experience. So I hope you've been enjoying this. We've had a series of incredible guests. We've had some amazing shows that even blow my mind as these different dolphin consciousness communications, healings, messages, memories are coming through in all different ways. So we're feeding our mind and our logical mind, and we're feeding that spiritual and intuitive mind, and we're feeding our bodies. And as we're receiving this, we're putting that back into the Akasha so everyone can have access to not just your experience and healing, but what the dolphins are really bringing us. So make sure that you look for the Dolphin Healing playlist on the channel, subscribe, get notifications if you want to know when we go live. We have our weekly spiritual weather report, our weekly multidimensional meditation, and lots of special shows like this. So this is already out there for you. Then there's some of these where I brought through, and I'm going to keep bringing through some more messages. We've had Anne Gordon on. You can check that out. My dear friend Kate Solisti, incredible animal communicator, 7-time author, beautiful Leora Brun, and meditating in the love, oh my goodness, and always with Donna Marie. The dolphins come and we're just channeling in the joy and the bliss. It's like being with them in person. It's just like we all just go off the charts. So remember that the Dolphin Healing and Mayan Magic Retreat, we now have 3 dates. So you can still come for the equinox in March, and we have the dates in July and dates in December. So check it out and let me know if I can help you. So let's dive in today because this is really, really special. So today I have Donna Kasseweitz as my guest, and you're just going to be amazed because her whole life, her entire soul purpose has been embodied, and it is growing, and it is it's kind of what we all wish we could do. Right, is make this impact that goes out in waves from our heart through something that really matters to us and to the world. So Donna is the co-founder, along with her husband Jack, in the Speak Dolphin Research Project, advancing the field of human cetacean communication. So what I love about it is we call it intuition for our general easy term. However, we know that everything has a way of vibrating, of speaking, of communicating, of infusing us with their healing powers. And this is key. This is so important right now that even if you're not like, oh, I love Flipper, or, oh, I want to go kiss a dolphin, this is important because it's telling us about us and our future, as well as being in partnership, which is something we could all use. So their Speak Dolphin scientific breakthrough of the images inside dolphin echolocation on geometric shapes and even a man underwater received global recognition. And also significant is their discovery of the hidden musical notes within dolphin vocalization. Donna is also the founding partner of Dolphin Discovery, the world's largest family of dolphin sanctuaries, and has hosted more than 1 million human dolphin interactions. Now you see what I'm talking about, impact, eye to eye, heart to heart in the USA, Mexico, and the Caribbean. She's the founder of Dolphin Energy Medicine, leading small groups on weekend-long expeditions to partner with dolphins for in-water healing. Awesome stuff, okay, on both the humans and the dolphins. And she's founder of the Dolphin Ambassador Program, a multi-level certification program with practical dolphin knowledge in order to build human dolphin partnerships for excellent global stewardship. So you can find Donna at speakdolphin.com. Okay, so wonderful. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Wow, you're so good at that. The way you speak is just, wow, so professional. Thank you for having me on your show.
Absolutely. Well, I was thinking, recently coming back after the pandemic and everything, having, starting to have retreats again. And when we met, the first day that I got to kiss a dolphin in my whole life with you in Isla Mujeres was the day after the elections when Trump was elected. And I remember on the way there in the car, just feeling like I didn't know what to think, right? I just thought, I don't even know. I can't believe this is a reality. And then I didn't think about it the whole day. There's no way that you can do this, be around these incredible beings, as you know, and think about anything negative. You just can't. And then they raise you to bliss. So it was just incredible. And I'm just so pleased with everything you're doing and everything we've been able to do together. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, yes, the Dolphins definitely have that special brand of magic where they just help you let go of your stress and your baggage and just come into the present moment and be in your joy. So yeah, that's Dolphin magic for sure.
Yeah. So I know that the story of, how you started all of this is really beautiful. So could you start by sharing that? How the Dolphins came to you? Yeah.
Yes. You know what? I've got a little slideshow prepared so I can kind of, I'll start a couple of slides and I'll give you the background story and then we'll just keep moving forward to the whole human dolphin picture today. So yes.
And the dolphins behind you are from your Cozumel place, right?
Right, exactly. Oh, I guess I have to go to sharing my slideshow now. So let's see. I'm going to go and put on slideshow and I got to do share screen. There we go.
So when you come to my retreat, you get to go to one of Donna's centers. And because she's an energy healer, we get this privilege of getting to do amazing things, kiss and other beautiful energy work with them.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you. Yes. And I love, do you happen to remember who was the first dolphin you kissed in Israel?
Picasso.
Oh, it was Picasso.
Yes.
Oh, you'll be happy to hear he's actually in Puerto Aventuras now. So when you go in March, you're going to see Picasso.
Oh my gosh, I have chills. Oh my gosh, I have chills. I dug out all my pictures and I have one of kissing him and one of hugging him and just looking up at the camera and completely, blissed out. Oh my gosh, this is so incredible. Picasso.
Yeah. Picasso is one of my big mentors too. So we definitely have that in common. Well, as Nan mentioned, and can you hear me fine?
Oh, yes.
Okay, perfect. So as Nan mentioned, Speak Dolphin is our dolphin communication research project. That's our nonprofit that my husband and I have started. And you're going to see a lot of projects, pictures in here about our various projects. So let me just go on to the next slide. As Nan mentioned, the Dolphin Ambassador Program is a new program that we're building to really help train people to step into this role as ambassadors for the dolphins. And probably most people listening to this have a sense of what's going on in the oceans and how important it is to step up for the dolphins and whales and porpoises and to do our spiritual work to manifest a healthy new world for us all to live and play in together and to co-create together. So as I say, my mission now is all about building human dolphin partnerships for excellent global stewardship. For the spiritual crowd, I can say building human dolphin partnerships for manifesting heaven on earth. But for those who maybe don't like the spiritual slant, I just call it excellent global stewardship.
I like the creating heaven on earth.
Yeah. Well, it depends on who your audience is at the moment. So,
absolutely.
Right.
No, I feel like when you're with them, it's like getting to hang out with the Dalai Lama. Their vibration is so high. They have such an awareness and consciousness that just being with them, lifts you up. I
wonder if the Dalai Lama has had opportunity in this lifetime to hang out with dolphins. That's a very good question. I think I need to find a way to reach out to all of that. Yes.
Exactly. That would be amazing.
I feel that one of the things that the dolphins often ask of me is to bring them spiritually awake people, because these dolphins living in human care are on the front lines of awakening humanity. And we're going to talk more about that in a few moments. But the dolphins have an extra giggle whenever I can bring them spiritual groups, because it's like, oh, all right, we can cut through a lot of the baggage here and just get straight down to work with you people. So Yeah, so
Yeah.
we appreciate it when you bring your groups, Nan.
Yeah, it is fun because I can see energy, and when I'm with them, watching them with people, they alter, what they send, how they send it, how strong it is. And I think, with a lot of the people who come to have fun with the dolphins, that seed is planted. It's
Yes.
like we're entangled now. We can connect to you, we can help you, but it's a seed often where when you bring your groups or we bring our groups, we're like, oh, expand my heart,
Right.
let's talk to my higher self, like let's just
Right.
have this expanded experience right away. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I like that thought of the entanglement. I hadn't considered that before, but of course, that's exactly what's happening. So let me move on, and just to say, dolphins living among humans are ambassadors for their species to humanity. And I am going to get to the background story that you asked for, but I'm leading up to it. So
Okay.
dolphins living among humans are ambassadors from their species to humanity, and that's going to become more and more clear as we go through this presentation. Humans working together with dolphins can be dolphin ambassadors too. And that's me with Picasso, who we were just speaking with about. Yes. Yeah, beautiful Picasso. All right, so you know what, let me just go back for a second so not distract you with that slide yet. So the history of how we got started at Dolphin Discovery, I was campaigning on the dolphin tuna issue in the late 80s, trying to convince people to boycott tuna fish because of the massive numbers of dolphins that were being killed by the tuna fishing industry in the Eastern Tropical Pacific, which is the coast line from basically the Pacific coastline, Southern California down through Mexico, and even it extends into Costa Rica. Back in the 50s, tuna fishermen had figured out that the yellowfin tuna, that's the cheaper form of tuna that's sold in the cans, yellowfin tuna, schools of fish had decided somehow in their collective wisdom figured out that the dolphins were really good at finding food. So the yellowfin tuna, at least this is the theory, started following the dolphins because they knew the dolphins were going to lead them to food. So the tuna fishermen figured this out and realized in the 1950s that it would be easy to spot the dolphins because the dolphins are always having to be on the surface frequently. So they could spot the dolphins at a distance. They would encircle the dolphins with big nets, hoping that there were yellowfin tuna swimming underneath the dolphins. Then they would cinch up these nets, pull them aboard the boat, and sometimes there would be tuna fish under there, sometimes there wouldn't, but always there was dolphins because they were purposely setting their nets on the dolphins. And but in the 50s and up into the 60s, some of the records I found were that well over 1 million dolphins were killed. Some years it was an estimated 1 million dolphins a year were dying for the sake of cheaper tuna fish for humanity. Up until they started doing that, and in other parts of the world, the other species of tuna did not associate with dolphins, so they were at that point still caught with long line fishing methods, which were hooks on long lines. And so a tuna would have to bite the hook, and there was not, the nets weren't used. Anyhow, so I was campaigning about that whole issue, trying to convince people to stop buying yellowfin tuna. If you were going to buy tuna, at least buy the albacore tuna, because that was not caught with the same, that was a whole different species of tuna that wasn't following around the dolphins. So anyhow, I was doing events, creating events to educate people about this. At the time in the 80s, just started to hear about dolphin swims. And really at that time, there were only 6 places in the world where you could swim with dolphins in human care. Yeah, I'm thinking at the time, even the wild swim programs at the time were really weren't established at all yet. It was more of a hit or miss, an occasional thing, but it wasn't as established as it later now has become in Bimini, where you can pretty predictably go see spotted dolphins there and swim with them. So anyhow, in the 80s, then I heard that you could swim with dolphins at a place in the Florida Keys. I went there, and my husband at the time, Lewis, he's now deceased, but Lewis at the time couldn't understand why I was spending our meager little bit of money on all these dolphin awareness nights. Like, what are you doing? We got to save money for other things. And I couldn't understand how he couldn't get why this was important.
Yeah.
So anyhow, it was always a little bit of a battle, but he went with me down to Hawks Cay Resort in the Florida Keys, and I swam with the dolphins, had a profound experience that first time, and a very soulful eye-to-eye connection with the dolphin there. But more to my surprise was Lewis's reaction once I got out of the water, because he wasn't even in the water. He was just watching the whole program happening. And from that moment on, he was just determined that that was the only thing he was going to do with his life, was to have a dolphin swim program. And he was a very smart young businessman. Up until that time, he had several other business ideas that he was working on, but he let all of those drop, and his whole focus from that moment on of just watching me swim with the dolphins was that he had to have a place where people could come together and meet the dolphins. I always refer to that moment as the moment that the dolphins captured Lewis, because literally, energetically, it absolutely was that, because he didn't get it at all before that. And then from that moment on, it was all he could think about. So
I'm covered in goosebumps. My crown is going round and round. The goosebumps are going down my arms. They're even on my belly. It's just profound. And that, to me, because it's so incredible, everybody's experience is different. But when you get to do this, there is something about your soul purpose. Maybe it's not to be with dolphins as a business, but there's something that happens because you're in that presence. You've let go of everything else. And these energies and messages can come through, or they can clear out the blocks to you receiving that. So, incredible, incredible.
Well, so surprisingly, though, it might seem surprising that as much as I cared about the dolphins and campaigning on the dolphin tuna issue, I was somewhat opposed to Lewis's idea about having a dolphin sanctuary, because I kept thinking, well, yeah, I can see the important ecological reasons why people need to get together with dolphins and understand, the special nature of dolphins, that, hey, these aren't fish, these are amazing beings, and we need to protect them. I could understand all of that. And at the same time, I thought, wow, this seems like it could be a huge karmic liability to be responsible for having dolphins, living in anything that looks, like limitation in any way. So it began a year-long intense spiritual crisis for me. I was just begging God for answers, to know the right choices to make. And all my life, I had very clear spiritual guidance, but around this issue, I could not get any guidance. And it was, looking back now, I can see why. It's like, obviously I had all this judgment around it, and I built up emotional walls and probably more mental walls around myself. And I effectively cut myself off from receiving the guidance, the very guidance I was begging for.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah.
It was a long decline over a year of my mental peace, and it got to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to divorce him, because like, if I can't be we had just gotten married, not long before that. So finally I was just on my knees begging God, like, please God, you got to tell me what to do, because it's been a long while now. I feel like I can't hear you. And I was on my knees crying and begging. And then in this profound moment of divine grace, this was the message that came through. It said, stop resisting us. We have endeavored greatly to bring this opportunity to you. At this pivotal moment of planetary evolution, it is crucial for large numbers of humans to interact with dolphins. It is important for humanity, for the dolphins, and for the entire planet. So stop resisting us.
It's fantastic, just fantastic. I mean, in retrospect, you understand, the struggle that you went through, and it makes sense. But for me, this is the kind of work that I teach and I do, is how to go into that, so that where is that blocking you from other things? Where is that judgment coming out in other parts of your life? And what a profound healing, right? They started it with this profound healing, and we've been just getting pushed right into the depth of, I can't decide, am I good? Am I
Right,
bad? What's good? What's bad? It's
right,
such a
right.
profound question. And then to just come slap, like
Well, that
wackadoodle.
is when I say of all my years of over 30 years now since this time, this is the only time where I felt like I got a message from spirit where I was literally being yelled at. I mean, it was like, and I think it felt like I was being yelled at because it just took that amount of force to break through the energetic walls I had erected around myself. It took considerable force to break through my walls. And when this message came through, then it was like, I could feel literally like walls around me collapsing, and I could feel there's huge wave of peace came over me, and I felt like, oh, finally I can breathe for the first time in a year. I can finally breathe again. So so this was a big turning point. And well, as we go through the slideshow, it'll become more and more obvious of why the Dolphins would be asking for this. So let me go on to the next picture.
Well, and I want to just comment, like, one of the things that I give away free is the scale of consciousness, because when you talk about where you were in judgment, and judgment is guilt, which is the second lowest state, shame, and then guilt. And the emotional state of guilt is blame. So when we're that low in a frequency, you can't see joy, you can't see all this other stuff, right? It's just really difficult. And so, yeah, that breaking through that barrier, so powerful. I had the white tigers yell at me too.
Okay.
I was early in my spiritual path. I was doing healing work and animal communication work, and I was a docent at the Albuquerque Zoo, and I was walking the alpacas, and then I would leave and I would always go look at the white tigers. I loved them. They had this big, huge, beautiful place, but I would sit and I was loving on them at the same time, feeling guilty and pitying them. And they just went, cut it out, like loud. And just told me the whole story of, if you send us pity, you're disempowering us, you're making it harder, and you're not respecting us making our own choices. So
right. Yeah, I'll get into that part of the message from the Dolphins too in a little bit. But after this, I began asking, hold on, I got the next slide here. What was the importance of this human, like, why were they asking for this? And they said the dolphins' advanced use of sound, the dolphins' advanced use of sound triggers pre-encoded cellular memories, activating your DNA, awakening to humanity, to who you really are. Now, to hear that now doesn't sound, to hear that now doesn't sound so surprising, but this seemed really out on the limb when I first got this message back in the early, like, 1991. And it was like, wow, I don't know if I should tell anyone this because this sounds bizarre, but now over 30 years later, we can talk about it, right? So
yeah, everybody's saying that. Oh my gosh,
right,
amazing.
exactly. Yeah, so out of that time, then Dolphin Discovery was born, and this is Dolphin Discovery Isla Mujeres, where you've been, Nan, I know a few times, and it's a beautiful dolphin sanctuary. And this is just offshore Cancun. Here's another just a view of all the dolphins jumping there. So beautiful. Another view of underwater of I love the natural turtle grass or seagrass there. And this is our dolphin sanctuary in Cozumel. So that's a big, beautiful seaside lagoon as well. And another underwater image of Cozumel. There was a beautiful reef inside the Dolphin Lagoon until Hurricane, I forget which one it was. I think it was Wilma or Hurricane Katrina took out that whole reef. We're very sad about that. This is Dolphin Discovery Puerto Aventuras, where you take your groups, Nan, and I usually take our groups too. So yeah, that's, and you go here too, Nan, Dolphin Discovery Dreams in Puerto Aventuras.
Wow, look at that.
Okay. Yeah. And then this is Dolphin Discovery Grand Cayman. We have now over 20 dolphin sanctuaries in the US and Mexico and the Caribbean. And not all of them are as big and glorious as these are, we are definitely being tasked with the responsibility of taking over many of the older dolphinariums, because somebody needs to be responsible and taking care of those animals once their original owners and builders, they're ready for retirement. So yeah,
And
so
I
getting to know,
appreciate that, because that's one of the things is, we love them. We want to respect them. We want to create a good environment for them, like you said, who want to be in partnership. And there's just places that aren't. So you're doing a really big favor by bringing some quality care and love to some of these places.
yes, well, I'm grateful for Spirit for the opportunity. And at the same time, it also feels pretty overwhelming sometimes, the responsibility. Well, let's move on. This is, Dolphin Connection at Hawks Cay Resort down in the Florida Keys. This is where I first swam with the Dolphins. Now it's part of our company. So very fun full circle there. This is actually where those people are standing by the fence over there. That's exactly where Lewis was standing when the Dolphins captured him.
Oh my gosh. So this was, I didn't know that when we went there. I didn't know this was where you had your first dolphin experience. Wow.
Yeah, interesting. So also in that time, we've had a lot of our dolphin founders have given birth. So we've got the original founder dolphins who were brought in from the wild. And then they've had their children, and their children are having children. So there's the multiple generations now. And just some more nice dolphin pictures, the dolphin babies. There's Amaya and Shadia. Shadia, you'll recognize, Nan, is the one at the top with a little bit of the white on her lips.
Yeah.
In Cozumel years ago they each had just had their babies. We also, Dolphin Discovery has the manatees, which I know your groups get to experience, right, Nan? You do the manatees.
It's amazing. I love them so much. It reminds me of when my kids were little, because they grab you, they hold you, they hug you, or they want to hold on to you, and it's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, you can see this manatee's flipper is kind of grabbing this lady here. This is one of our
they're like, come here.
Right. Yeah. Well, you're feeding them some really nice lettuce, so they want to hang on to you and just say, yeah, let's stick close. You're my friend. So yeah, people always think the manatees look kind of funny until you meet one, and then you fall in love with them, and it's like, oh, they're adorable. They're beautiful.
In love, 100%. Yeah, I mean, even my group, they're like, I love everything, and they first go down the stairs, and they're like, oh, I don't know. Oh, and then you're just charmed. They're just charming. They're sweet, and they're big, but they just have purity to them. They're just
they do. And then the sea lions, you do the sea lions as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what we love is on the first day introducing our group members to the dolphins, the manatees, and the sea lions, because it's such a learning curve that first day, because each of these species, all of them marine mammals, each of them is just so precious in their own right. So and yet so unique. They have such unique skill sets. So it's really fascinating to meet all of them.
Yeah, and the sea lions have it's just their energy, like you said, a completely different personalities. This just strong, powerful, joyful, because the dolphins are joyful too, but it's different. Just woo.
The sea lions are so on it, so super fast. I mean, you really understand their brilliance when you're with them. Also at Dolphin Discovery, I mean, the dolphins are definitely building relationships with not only the guests, but also the trainers. You see some beautiful pictures here of the marine mammal specialists, formerly called dolphin trainers, now called marine mammal specialists. I tell you what, they love those dolphins. I mean, you have to really love dolphins to spend your, every day out there feeding them, taking care of them, going home with your hands smelling like fish every day of the week. It's a real dedication. People don't give enough appreciation to the marine mammal specialists. They are on the front lines of human dolphin interaction.
It's beautiful.
That's me with Shadia. And here's another one of the marine mammal specialists.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, Paola hugging Sophia the dolphin. I love this picture. I got to take that picture. Yeah.
Oh, that's a gorgeous picture.
Some other beautiful dolphin hugs. Oh, so I want to go into a little bit of the history now. you saw some of the other dolphin discovery locations. Marineland in St. Augustine, Florida, has become part of the Dolphin Discovery family, now called the Dolphin Company, in 2019. And Marineland holds a very special place in the human-dolphin relationship because it's the very first place that dolphins came to live in human care. So it was in June 1938, Marineland opens as Marine Studios with over 30,000 guests on the first day. And it quickly became known as the world's first oceanarium. Look at that, that picture down there with the all the people lined up.
Wow.
So it's very interesting. Let me see what the next slide is. Yeah.
That's what we call pent-up demand.
Right. Now remember, at this time though, yeah, in 1938, so this picture on the top right of the dolphins jumping, that would have been taken later because in 1938, when it opened, Marineland Studios was opened as a place to film underwater movies because at the time we didn't have underwater cameras. And Jacques Cousteau was, you know, getting the world interested in the ocean. People were starting to pay attention to what was underneath the oceans, the ocean surface. And so there was some demand for underwater films that had some underwater scenes, but there was no way to do it because there weren't underwater cameras yet. So Marine Studios, as it was called at the time, was built as a big pool with like lots and lots of portholes all the way around it so that the filmmakers could run around and shoot through the porthole all kinds of different scenes. And they went out and captured all kinds of stuff in the ocean. They put dolphins in there, they put sharks in there, they put all kinds of fish and turtles and stingrays, and everything was just in there together. Wow. And so at first, you know, again, they're just, people didn't recognize how special dolphins were. But as some time went by, the trainers started figuring out like, hey, these dolphins seem like they're a lot smarter than the rest of the stuff in this pool. And actually they began asking questions because at the time, sea lions were already being used in circuses. So they brought in a sea lion trainer from the circus named Adolphe Fromm to work with a young dolphin at Marine Studios to see, is a dolphin smart enough to learn to do stuff like a sea lion can do? And that began, and then within the first year, they realized like, oh, this dolphin's super smart. He can do all of this stuff. And that began the training of all the other dolphins and to this whole massively different way for humanity to begin to view dolphins and who they are and what they're capable of and their willingness to work in partnership with humans and their incredible intellect. So yeah, so then 2019, yeah, Marineland joins the Dolphin Discovery family, home of the most loved dolphins. This is a picture now of Marineland. It's on the ocean there, and that's ocean water that comes in. But it's, yeah, one side of that whole pool is big glass windows. And yeah, there's a lot of amazing history at Marineland. One of the oldest dolphins living in human care, she's passed now, but she lived like 61 years, Nellie, very famous. There were two super old dolphins there, both of them in their 60s. And it's just amazing. They definitely were forerunners for their species. They were pioneers in the human dolphin interaction.
What's interesting to think about, because of course we love dolphins, so, you know, whatever way they were handled, good, bad, whatever. But the thing that's amazing is that think about the difference in what we know. Oh, you know, like people literally didn't even know they were smart. You know, like it was
everyone still thought of them as fish. I mean, the scientists kind of knew they weren't fish, but everyone else just kind of considered them fish. I know. Yeah, I know. It's a giant learning curve, what we've been through in the recent decades. Yeah. So since that time, millions of people have connected to dolphins through swim programs over the last 25 years. Dolphins in human care are truly ambassadors for the oceans. Now, here's something we have to mention because I think we all have to pay attention to this. A 2006 NOAA study, NOAA's National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration of the United States. This NOAA study estimated that 350,000 dolphins, whales, and porpoises are killed by the global seafood industry each and every year. So I always say to
That's
people who care
important.
about dolphins, who want to do right by the dolphins, consider carefully your seafood choices. I
Yeah,
personally boycott all seafood, even though I would love to eat it, but
me too.
I feel like I owe it to the dolphins not to be adding to this global crisis. And sadly, nothing has changed since 2006 to make us believe that less dolphins are being killed. Dolphins and whales and porpoises are being killed every year. If that number has been reduced, it's only because there's less and less dolphins, whales, and porpoises. So this is one of the crises on our planet that we really have to address.
And you know what we're really talking about is that you can care and make a difference when you have that opportunity to meet somebody. It's like war. When you go, oh, those people over there are evil, go kill them. And then, but if you travel and you meet people all over, you go, but they're not evil.
It's interesting.
You know, like some people, okay, yes, but you know what I mean? In general, when you meet someone, you now have a better understanding of them.
Absolutely.
Now you don't want to just say, oh, I don't care, or kill them or whatever. And that's what we have to do. You know, we have to do that with humans to humans as well. So the difference in them having more and more people being able to say, oh, I'm going to make a different choice, you know? Yeah. Beautiful.
So now in 2023, in the 8 decades since Marineland first opened, the world's first dolphinarium in 1938, dolphins have been inspiring humanity with joy and playfulness and a growing respect for oceans and marine life. So as I said earlier, dolphins truly are ambassadors for not only their own species, but for the oceans.
The planet.
So now we want to look at how are we going to evolve the partnership. One of my questions for Spirit over the last several years is, well, thank you, God, that you gave me the opportunity to play this role in building the Human Dolphin Partnership with the swim programs the way they are. But we have millions of people now who have had that heart-to-heart, eye-to-eye contact with the dolphins. I know at least those people would be interested in taking things to the next step. Like now I know what it's like to be in the water with a dolphin, to touch them, to have them touch me, to, you know, to just be looking them directly in the eye, to have that really deep connection. What can I do with this connection now? And this is where I say with our Speak Dolphin research and all the different projects we're going to talk about now, where I'm looking to just keep evolving the partnership. How are we going to keep taking things to the next level?
Oh, well, thank you so much. And you can find Donna at speakdolphin.com, and we will have all of her information. If you get on nanakasha.com, we'll send you that an email, all the reminders. But you have a playlist here, and we'll have those links below as well. And you can always let us know whatever it is you need. So thank you. Well, that was incredible. But is there anything else you want to share before we go?
Just a recent message from the Dolphins was keep asking, how good can it get? It's very challenging when we look at the news and see things around the world, and we start letting our mind wander over to, oh no, how bad can it get? And that is a terrible question to ask the universe. We don't want those answers. We want to stay focused on how good can it get? Ask that every day. How good can it get? So yay, how good can it get? Thank you, Nan.
Perfect. Oh, thank you, sweetie. So much love for you, for Jack, for everything you're doing, all the dolphins. We're just going to send out a wave of gratitude now so we can pull in that gratitude, really feel it. Gratitude is a nice, really high state up there, kind of near that joy, and then send it to yourself. Fill it with full of your body, your mind, your aura, your emotions, every part of you, and then out. And you can sense and feel it. Just give it a little instruction and imagine it pulsing out like rings and moving into your space. Really thanking yourself for taking the time to do this, to think outside the box, to expand, to want to be able to communicate, to want to stretch into who really am I? What is my potential? And let's send that to all the dolphins in human care, all the waters to Donna and out to the very core of the earth. And then together we'll all breathe that out and send it up like to the clouds, into the celestials, and let that radiate out. Oh, yes. So as you're watching the series and you have all this incredible information, take it and then let it roll around during the day. You know, when you're walking around, maybe you're going to hear, you know, what are you doing with your hands? Or, you know, you're going to just suddenly feel this warmth moving through you, or get an image. The beautiful thing about digital photography is that it captures the actual frequency, the essence of the moment. So when you get to see these images, you're getting that, it's radiating to you. So you can receive it, you can be in the flow. And really that message from the dolphins is, are they calling you? Are they calling you to come to be with them, to that? Or do they want to come to you in your dreams? Could you look at pictures of them, sounds of them? You know, we have several healing meditations with them. And just in whatever way, why is this a part of the message for you? Because they've been around a really long time. So it's quite certain if you had other lives that you could have interacted with them. And we have all these sacred and ancient cultures. The Mu civilization came through in the first show and told us that they came into form and they remembered who they were and they played in form. And then pretty soon they got consumed with form and they forgot who they were. They forgot that they were vibrational creators, beings, and the dolphins were the ones that saved them. The dolphins were the ones that kept coming back and reminding them and lifting them out of that until they became an ascended civilization that's helping us structure this new world. So there's a lot here. Whatever the message is for you, I know that it's in your heart, whether you feel like you've received it or not. And remember, you're now part of the pod. So whatever you do, wherever you go, you're part of the pod. We're going to go ahead and say, may this circle be open yet unbroken, and this joy and this wisdom and these heart connections go with us with every breath and every step as we move into our day. We radiate the violet flame, the joy of our heart-to-heart connection with these beautiful dolphins and the dolphins on all the different levels and all the realms and all the times and all the spaces. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wonderful. So I will see you on Sunday, and we're going to be doing some more dolphin messages and channelings and healings. And in the meantime, have a beautiful and blessed day. Thanks, everybody. Bye.